Did you know that there are over 15 billionaires on the planet who are under age 30? And that while 11 of them inherited their wealth, 4 of them are self-made entrepreneurs. There are over 2 million people on the planet who are millionaires, and all of them are under age 30. If it's possible to become a millionaire, heck, to become a billionaire before age 30, then why do so many of us believe that we have to work 45 to 50 years of the best years of our life so that we can retire at age 65 with the remaining 10 to 15 years of our life, and then only will we be wealthy? If your spidey senses are tingling and you feel like something's fishy, it's because something is definitely fishy. And in today's podcast episode, I intend to expose just that. My name is Nathan J. Bishop, and this is Maximum Impact Unleashed. Given the choice, no one would choose to live an excruciating life over an exceptional life. Or put more accurately, no one would willingly choose to live an excruciating life over an exceptional life. Now, for context, an exceptional life is characterized by freedom and peace of mind. Freedom is having the power to act, speak, and think as one so desires. The opposite of freedom is slavery. And in this context, slavery is being powerless to act, speak, and think as one so desires. Peace of mind is being in a state where you are not worried about what you will eat or drink, where you will stay, or whether or not you are safe. The opposite of peace of mind is stress, and stress is being inundated by worry, the worry of what you will eat or drink, where you will stay, and whether or not you are safe. This is the difference between an exceptional life, freedom and peace of mind, an excruciating life, slavery and stress. No one would willingly choose to live an excruciating life over an exceptional life. But if that's the case, why do so many people end up living an excruciating life? A life where they are not free to act, speak, and think as they so desire, and they are constantly worried about what they will eat or drink, where they will stay, and whether or not they are safe. You see, while it's not obvious to most people, choosing what we want now over what we want most is exactly what leads to us living an excruciating life. While choosing what we want most over what we want now leads to living an exceptional life, let me explain. Measured along a very short time frame, choosing what we want now over what we want most definitely seems like you are living an exceptional life. Partying, drinking, having a social life that is lived on social media, choosing to eat junk food over whole foods, and making flashy purchases so that you can not only keep up with the Jones, but keep in touch with them. Yes, measured along a very short time frame, choosing what we want now over what we want most definitely seems like you are living an exceptional life. But measured along a longer time frame, this is exactly what leads to you living an excruciating life. You start off by drinking only in the festive season, to drinking once a month, to drinking once a week, to drinking every day, and before you know it, you're an alcoholic. Like I said, no one is willingly choosing to live an excruciating life. But if you measure your life along a short time frame, you are likely going to find out at the end that your life is now excruciating. We must choose, we must cultivate in ourselves the ability to measure our choices along a longer time frame. But don't get me wrong, I absolutely get it. It's very clear why choosing what we most want over what we want now seems like you are living an excruciating life measured along a very short time frame. Choosing to study and build a business as opposed to partying all night, choosing to eat healthy and exercise regularly over eating fast food with friends and family, choosing to build more intimate relationships as opposed to building superficial relationships online. Yes, measured along a very short time frame, this looks like you are living a very excruciating life, and this is the reason, because you don't get to have any of the benefits up front now in the moment. Instead, the benefits are long-term, but they are also long-lasting. In the long run, this looks like you owning the corporate ladder others work and study so hard to climb. It looks like you having a strong body so that you can defend yourself against other people, and having a strong mind so that you can defend yourself against yourself. And it looks like building more meaningful and intimate relationships with a select few people as opposed to having countless shallow relationships online. No. Making decisions that will eventually lead to you living an exceptional life is not something easy to do. And I'm not trying to belittle the effort required. You will 100% need a strategy, and that is exactly what this podcast is meant to do. Give you a strategy to live an exceptional life. Here are some interesting statistics. There are approximately 8 billion people on the planet. 50% of the world's wealth is owned by the top 1%, the other 50% is owned by the top 39%, and 60% of the world's population have a 0% net worth, or worse, a negative net worth, meaning they owe far more than they own. More than 80% of people who graduate from conventional education institutions will go on to join the employment market. Less than 20% of people who graduate from the same institutions will go on to become entrepreneurs. And for those who go on to get a job, they will work 5 days to get 2 days off, work 45 to 50 of the best years of their lives, so that they can retire at age 65 with the remaining 10 to 15 years of their lives. There are 583 million millionaires on the planet. That is 7% of the world's population. And there are 3,194 dollar billionaires on the planet. That is 0,00004% of the world's population. That's 4 zeros after the comma. When society, be that your religious group, politicians, schools, friends and family, whomever, whenever these people describe wealth, they describe it as the amount of money you can accumulate over time. And even though I completely disagree with this with every single fiber in my system, let's go with it for a while. Let's suppose being wealthy means being a billionaire. Okay. Do you know how many millions there are in a billion? There are 1,000 millions in 1 billion. Now, let's suppose, for argument's sake, that you can save $1 million every single year. Well, even if you lived to be 100 years old, if you saved $1 million every single year for 100 years, you would not be a billionaire. You would have to multiply your age by 10. You would have to save $1 million for 1,000 years to become a billionaire. Do you see how messed up this is? What's messed up isn't that you cannot become wealthy. What's messed up is how society defines wealthy, and then the method they give you to become wealthy. Work and save your way to wealth. Yet being wealthy is considered being a billionaire. No, friend, you simply cannot work and save your way to wealth. There's got to be another way, and there is. To become wealthy, we must first do 2 things. Number 1, we must first redefine what being wealthy means in the first place. And then secondly, we must adopt a better way to wealth creation than what society tells us. And this is what they tell us. We should trade our precious time and energy so that we can make more money. But before we can redefine wealth, let's look at time and money and see which one is more valuable. Let's start with money. There is approximately $7 trillion traded on the foreign exchange market every single day. 7 trillion. The central banks of the world print money on demand, quite literally out of thin air. Whenever commercial banks issue debt, money is created, and an increase in the money supply that is not backed by production but by credit is what results in inflation. And in case you don't know, inflation is the degradation of the purchasing power of your money. The official definition is an increase in the cost of goods and services. Either way, money is both abundant and ever increasing, and an increase in the money supply is what makes money less and less valuable. Now let's look at time. Life expectancy is sitting at 72 years old, meaning most people won't live to see the age of 73. And even if you live to be 100 years old, that is but a drop in the ocean that is considered time. What's worse, time is unmanageable. You cannot make time slow down. You can't stop it or make it move faster. There are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Time is both scarce and, more specifically, your time is scarce and running out. And since scarcity increases the value of a resource, time is your most valuable resource. Money is not more valuable than time, and I don't care about the expression, time isn't equal to money. No, my friend. Time is infinitely more valuable than money is. And if that's the case, how can being wealthy mean accumulating as much money as you possibly can using your time to do it? This is a flawed definition. No. Here's what we teach all of our clients. Being wealthy is being able to do what you want to do, wherever you want to do it, with whomever you want to do it with, without jeopardizing your livelihood. And the longer you can do that for, the more wealthier you are. And that is exactly why wealth isn't measured in units of currency like money, but wealth is measured in units of time. Or where else do you think the expression generational wealth comes from? Since that is the case, since time is infinitely more valuable than money, then the best part to wealth creation simply cannot be trading your time to make more money. Instead, the best part to wealth creation is in trading your money not just to make you more money, but to free up more time for yourself. Time that you can spend with freedom and peace of mind. See, if it makes you money, it will make you rich. But if it both makes you money and frees up time for you, it'll make you wealthy. While you can work your way to riches, you cannot work your way to wealth. You must own your way to wealth. And wealth comes by two parts and two parts only. Either you invest in or buy income-producing assets that appreciate in value at a rate higher than the rate of inflation, or you build income-producing assets. You see, there is a unique relationship that exists between seeds and money, in that they can both produce after their kind. God gives seed to the sower and bread to the eater, because if he gives bread to the eater is going to consume it and he'll be left unsustained. But to the sower or the farmer, God gives seed because he's willing to take it and put it in the ground so that he can later on reap a transformative reward, more than he could possibly consume himself. Money is just like a seed. You don't want to eat your money. Instead, you want to put a portion of that money away so that you can later on put it to work so that your money can later on both make you money and free up time for you. But putting money away so that you can put it to work so that it can both make you money and free up time for you isn't a new concept. In fact, it's called investing, and investing is as old as time. Now, for most people, investing is either something you do one day when you've got a whole lot of money, or it's a thing you don't do so you don't lose your money. And that's because when most people think investing, they think risk. Now, is there a risk that you could lose your money whilst investing? Absolutely yes. But you need to understand that all profit is born of risk. See, when it comes to investing, there are two main categories of investing: passive investing and active investing. Let's start with passive investing. With passive investing, you take a portion of your money and you give it to experts. Let's call these experts investment managers. These experts understand the risks and rewards related to specific industries. And because they understand the risks and rewards, they take your money and take long positions on assets within that industry. By taking long positions, what I mean is they buy these assets or even just a percentage of these assets on your behalf, and you become an owner or part owner of this asset. Which means if the asset goes down in value, your investment goes down in value, and that's the risk. But if the asset goes up in value, your investment goes up in value, and that, my friend, is the reward. All profit is born of risk, but risk and profit are functions of ownership, not employment. But passive investing is more a vehicle to preserve wealth than to create wealth in the first place. Let me explain. The S&P 500 has produced a 10% return on investment year on year over the past 10 years, which means if you give an investment manager to invest in the S&P 500 on your behalf, you will reap a 10% return on investment year over year. but you will not realize a 10% return on investment year over year. Let me explain. You see, investment managers come at a cost, and that cost is 3% of your returns. And inflation for the past 10 years has been about 7%. Now, 3% owed to investment managers and 7% owed to inflation means your 10% return on investment is now null and void. But before you conclude that this is a bad idea, that is not what I am saying. At least you still have the purchasing power you had 10 years in the past. That's a lot more than most people who don't invest at all. That said, if you're looking to create wealth as opposed to preserve wealth, then you need to look at active investing, and that's exactly where I'd like to go to next. With active investing, there are no experts other than yourself. You, my friend, are the expert. And because you are the expert, you understand the risks and rewards related to specific industry, more specifically, your industry. And because you understand the risks and rewards related to your industry, you take a long position on an asset in that industry. That asset could be a business, and that's exactly what I'm going for here. Because you've taken a long position on the asset, specifically your business, you are an owner in that business. And because you own the business, if the business goes up in value, so does your investment go up in value. If the business goes down in value, so does your investment go down in value. And that, my friend, is the risk. However, if the business goes up in value, so does your investment go up in value. And that, my friend, is the reward. The delicious reward. Now, depending on the type of business model you're going for, it's not uncommon for certain businesses to see a 60%, 80%, or even a 100% profit margin. That's how much money you make. And on exit, which is when you sell a business, it is also not uncommon for you to sell the business for a 2x, 5x, or even a 10x multiple on the revenue. My friend, do not eat your seed. Put it in the ground so it can bring forth a harvest. Don't eat, wear, live in, and drive your money. Let that not be the only thing you do. Put a portion of your money away so that you can one day put it to work, so that it can one day both make you money and free up time for you so that you can do what you want to do, wherever you want to do it, with whomever you want to do it with, without jeopardizing your livelihood. That, my friend, is how you live an exceptional life. So what is it that is standing in the way of you putting a portion of your money away so that it can one day work for you to both make you money and free up time for you? What is standing in your way? Is it lack? Is it a lack of opportunity, a lack of knowledge or skill? Is it a lack of time or capital? Or do you lack the means of application? There is no lack of opportunity. Every problem, need, and complaint is a business opportunity. All you need to do is find the people who are both willing and able to pay for the solution and solve it at a premium. And while it might be true that you might lack the know-how and skill, the internet is full of the type of content and communities you need to join to both gain high income skills and high value skills. There's no excuse. There is no lack of time or capital, aka money. I can 100% guarantee that there is a significant amount of your time and energy that you are squandering. Don't use your spare time and money to escape the life you don't want. Instead, use it to build the life you do want. And there is no lack that is called the means of application. In other words, you do not lack what is required to get the job done. The Apollo 11, which was the first rocket to land on the moon, to put a man on the moon, had 2% of the computing power of that is in the average smart device today. They put a man on the moon with less than 2%. What are you doing with your smart device? Mindlessly scrolling through social media or taking selfies? You do not lack access. What you may lack is awareness. Here's one more thing. With the advent of the internet, it is possible to build a business and from that business, make a fortune doing what you love. It really is possible. You can digitize your information, productize it, and sell it a near infinite amount of times to people quite literally all over the world. There is no lack. There's no lack of access, only a lack of awareness. Well, in this podcast episode, my job is to make you aware. But suppose you decide, hey, you know what? I'm good. I'm fine not adopting a better way to wealth creation. I like things just the way they are. To you, my friend, I say more power. I respect anyone who can look at the data and remain the same. 50% of the world's wealth owned by the top 1%, the other 50% owned by the top 39%, and 60% of the world's population have a 0% net worth, or worse, a negative net worth, meaning they owe far more than they own. More than 80% of people who graduate from the conventional education institution go on to join the employment market. Less than 20% of those people will go on to become entrepreneurs. Of those who get a job, they will work 5 days to have 2 days off. They will give up 45 to 50 years of the best years of their life to the employment market to retire at age 65 and have 10 to 15 years of the rest of their lives to themselves. Only now, they've lost all bodily function, lost loved ones, and lost any sense of whatever makes them human. Anyone who can look at that data and say, Nathan, I'm fine, brother, I respect you, but I definitely am not going to replicate your behavior. No, in fact, I have committed my life to doing the complete opposite. I would rather live beneath my means so that I could put a portion of my money away, so that I could one day put it to work, so that it could go out and make more money and free up time for me. I would rather spend my free time not escaping the life I don't want, but to build the life I do want. I would rather be the person who owns the corporate ladder that others study and work so hard to climb. I would rather try and fail than fail to try. And should I succeed in my endeavors, then I know that I will be able to do what I want to do, wherever it is I want to do it, with whomever I want to do it with, wifey and my son, without jeopardizing my livelihood. I would rather do what most people won't do so that I can one day do what most people can't do. Choosing what we want most over what we want now is exactly the key to living an exceptional life. In the next podcast episodes, in the final 2 podcast episodes, I'm going to be giving you some actionable steps on how you can live an exceptional life. It's going to be lit. If you haven't liked this video already, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to the channel. My name is Nathan J. Bishop, and this is Maximum Impact Unleashed.